Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and Hasbro just announced they are letting go 1,000 employees, which is about 15% of its global workforce. Now, they said employees. I think that it's mostly contractors. I don't have proof of that, but at least Wizards of the Coast hires a lot. And by the way, I've heard headlines that Wizards of the Coast is firing 1,000 employees. No, it's Hasbro. I think Wizards of the Coast, think about it, 50 to 100 employees tops, right? I mean, they have 2 or 3 people in HR and accounting. They've got a tiny handful of people. I think it's 1 or 2 people in charge of all story writing and lore. This is not a big company. Financially, they're big, but physically, they're not. So no, they can't fire 1,000. I'm not even sure who at WOTC would be caught up in this. WOTC's their piggy bank. They're probably hiring more people. But Hasbro, okay, so 15% of its global workforce is now leaving very shortly, which is 1,000 people, which you do the math, they have about 7,000. Oh, pardon me, had about 7,000. And remember, they said global. You really got to wonder how many are contractors. Because if I said, people who work for, instead of using the word employee, Wizards of the Coast, it's way higher because look at the sheer number of artists, but they're contracted. And I don't mean some, tax dodge, we don't want to consider them employees, no, they're commissioning a piece of art and buying it from them pretty much. But, I mean, the statements are saying employees, which I think you have to be very careful with what you say because they're publicly traded, and if they mislead investors, they're going to get in trouble. So I think these are direct employees because that's the word they're using. So you gotta wonder who it is. They're not saying entire divisions, which means it's probably across the board. But I know from experience that they are focused on divisions that aren't making money. Now, usually you'd want to say something, I'm not sure what the laws are about disclosing this kind of stuff, but if you shut down the entire This Toy Line division and we're just not making that anymore and everybody's fired. Project managers, art people, marketing, everybody involved in this branch is now gone. I think they have to disclose that. So the fact that they didn't makes me think this is just across the board. We're making 10, 20, 30% less in, the toys division. Get rid of 10 to 20 to 30% of whatever, product. And it's usually customer support. If you have 1 or 2 people in charge of product safety, well, you can't get that down to, 0 because then you wouldn't have a department. But, with the people that, work customer service and something that scales with the number of customers, they're the first to go. And then the other thing is the much, much, much more expensive managers. If you got so big that you need multiple layers of project managers and supervisors and mid-level and all this, managers for the managers and team leads and all this other stuff, if your product just went from, $10 million down to $2 million, they're scaling back new innovations, they're closing down, projects and stuff that they're working on and getting rid of the number of managers because, like I said, their promotions, they're very expensive. So that's my take on all this. Let's get what WOTC says, and the statements were, of course, from Chris, I don't care about anybody but myself and my own reputation and my own wallet, Cox, who used to be, of course, the CEO for WOTC briefly, and he took over, and shortly after, right around the same time, I'm sure it was a coincidence, everything went to crap. They started overprinting products, they started ramping up the power level of everything so that you had to buy more because they were moving the goalpost, and then he totally drove it off a cliff. Everybody hates it, everybody stopped playing the game. He didn't rein in any of the staff's, ridiculous far-lefty extremist nutbar statements on Twitter. Just everything was going off a cliff and he didn't care because he was like, I only care about making myself look good. Look at these numbers that I did, give me a promotion. And that's what he got. And he burned WOTC to the ground. See, the one thing he seemed to forget is, boy, that's going to be a mess to clean up for whoever's in charge of WOTC. Oh, that's me. I'm the CEO of Hasbro. Oops. Oh, now I have to deal with the consequences of my own actions. I bet he's looking for a new job right now. He's just collected a bigger paycheck for a couple years until the board forces him out. And the board are the most out-of-touch people I've ever heard of in my life, according to everything I've ever heard from insiders at Hasbro. And angry investors, ex-investors, and high-level employees, everybody has said that the board and the management are just old, out-of-touch morons who, they hire their own family members and friends, and it's all this, I'm so entitled to this, I deserve this position, while being completely not qualified at all. And it's been that way for a very, very long time. You ever notice that companies that do really well, the people who are at the top doing, management and top-level engineering, top-level product design, top-level business strategy are there because they're good at their job instead of I've just been here the longest and me and the CEO go golfing? So if you were to look at the opposite of that, the CEO of YouTube. Not good at business, not good at tech, not good at video, not good at management, not good at math, anything. Not good at her job, the end. The CEO of Twitch. The most common quote I've heard is, we're not sure that he knows he's CEO of Twitch. He does not seem to be aware of that. And those are the companies that are losing money left or right and being mismanaged and let, the lefty, purple-haired circus in. Because they just don't care. They just, they show up and punch the clock and collect a check and whatever. If they get fired, whatever. They got severance, they got money in the bank. It's not their problem. They've already won the system. But then they burn the whole company down with them. So that's pretty much Hasbro and WOTC management. They're not quite to that level like Twitter and Twitch, but they're pretty darn close. And that's what's leading to this. But let's get Chris's take on this. So they outright declined to specify if the layoffs would hit WOTC at all, which makes me wonder if it is, but WOTC doesn't have that many employees. And they're making all of Hasbro's money. Look it up. It's like 70, 80, 90% depending upon how you measure it from what I'm hearing. So Hasbro loses money, WOTC makes money in the short term, and obviously just damaged the brand irreparably, and then on top of it, the OGL greed, which came straight from Hasbro. And then because of that, Hasbro keeps hitting them up for more money. That's allegedly what's going on from a lot of anecdotal accounts from a lot of employees. If that sounds like a bad system that's not sustainable, and then all the stores are shutting down, and then, they're directly competing on Amazon with the stores, and they're overprinting everything to the point where people are just giving up completely, even the whales. They're losing the last couple people that would just throw tons of money at the game. And they're failing to fix the most basic complaints like, actually giving people the secret lair within a reasonable amount of time and putting the correct products in the box for this overpriced product that costs you $1 to make that you sell for like 30 to 50. Maybe you should focus on actually putting the cards in the box that are supposed to go in there. Your printing contractors are garbage. Get rid of that company out of Texas. I don't care what the contract looks like, rip it up. So card quality, power creep, malfunctions, and rigging in the shuffling system, the go first system, and the opening hand system, 1.5 of which they've already admitted to and the rest are suspected heavily and supported heavily by large-scale math. They're failing to address all that. Card quality, curling foils. Pokemon doesn't have curling foils, or at least not to this extent, and if they did, they fixed it. You can't scale packs. You can do it with Magic. I mean, everything top to bottom is, well, don't care about that because caring about that would cost money, but let's do this because this will make money in 1 quarter. This will make us look good for the very short term. Who cares about the long-term health? Well, it's a 30-year-old game, so you should probably care about the long-term health. Because now that you got your promotion you were fishing for so many years and you get the big boy paycheck, now it's still your problem, Chris. You have to fix this. We all know you're going to golden parachute out the damn window as soon as it gets too bad and then blame everyone else and go get a job somewhere else. But here's a thought. Why don't you try to fix it? Oh, that's right, because D&D, you can't repair that. Just period. That cannot be repaired right now. You are never coming back from what you just did. And Magic the Gathering, well, you guys know how rotation works. We're 2 years out from them lowering the power level of Standard. They started, and then Phyrexial will be what happened. I heard New Capenna didn't sell very well because that was a very Commander-centric, low-powered set that didn't have much to do with Standard, and you look at the number of cards that are played in Standard from it, it's very low. So it looked like they were trying. It really did. And then they stopped trying and ramped the power level back up because, oh, it hurts, we lost money. Well, then rotate Standard twice and just piss people off even more. You almost can't piss people off more at this point. It's a lot of people, a tiny minority, just being real loud on social media saying, I want to play my cards longer. Those are the types that'll continue to buy it no matter what you do. Okay, those people are the net deckers, they're addicted to winning, and they have very, very small and significant lives where winning at Magic is very important to them instead of just something you go do, or here's a thought, play for fun without having to win. Those are the types that are like, I want to buy a number 1 deck for way too much money, more than I can afford, and then beat little kids with it at my LGS, okay? I'm gonna get free, easy wins where I don't even have to design the deck, and when you rotate it, I lose that and I have to spend money again, and I don't want to do that. That's right, they're catering to people that have openly told them they don't want to spend money. Number 1 biggest mistake they made in the last couple of years was listening to those people and going back on their plan to rotate Standard twice. And if it sounded like a greedy move and I'm supporting it, it's I'm sure it does on the surface, but they went away from 3 set blocks. It made perfect sense. Too many more sets were going to be legal at a time and they were just fixing it, okay? They knew that having 8 sets in Standard was too many and that the power level would get too high, it would get too complicated, it'd be too hard to keep up with. And now it is. They need to fix it. But like I said, we're 2 years out from fixing Magic unless they want to rotate it early, announce an abrupt change on top of banning 30 cards, and they would not have the balls to do that. But I mean, if the plane's already crashing and you're nosediving, you might as well try something, okay? Might as well try something drastic, you know what I mean? Might as well pull the Band-Aid off. I mean, you can't do much more damage. You're already bleeding. So I love how all these articles are trying to cover for them. Or they're just reiterating what they said in the statement. You know, like Chris's ridiculous statement. The elimination of the positions will impact many loyal Hasbro employees. However, the changes are necessary to return our business to competitive industry leading position. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you just backhandedly admit that you're not an industry leader anymore? That's something you want to tell the stockholders. And any remaining stockholders, not smart people, not people who know anything about what they're doing. So this announcement was on Thursday. In roughly 2022, they went from $100 stock price down to about 60. So remember, they're worth multiple billions of dollars, so you do the percentage calculations. But in the last 5 days, they're down another 8.13%. Ouch. So on Thursday, they started at 63.78 and ended up as low as 57.85. It shot back up for some reason. I guess some investors are just that stupid, and now it's leveled back off as of Friday at 58.61. So anybody who rebought it to 61 lost another couple percent and deserved it. This is not investment advice, but in my opinion, generally, the only thing you should do right now to Hasbro is short them. As soon as the Q1 financial reports come out and they see how bad Magic is doing, and they try to blame it on, oh, but it's Q1. Well, let me tell you about the Christmas quarter. How about that? Let's look into that then. But I'll just tell you, it's going to be bad. They're going to blame it on, well, nobody spends money between January and March, which is true. I mean, that is true. Nobody even bothers to advertise in these months. That's why YouTubers don't make crap in these months. I would very much appreciate support on Patreon, by the way. Or just go get yourself YouTube Premium, because I make a lot of money off that. Just your watch time is worth between 50 to 100 times more than the average person. And then you'd be supporting everybody you watch while benefiting yourself. I would actually recommend doing that instead of Patreon, just saying. So I'm sure that's going to be their excuse, but let's talk about the Christmas quarter, because he did have to address that. Wizards performed financially well in the last year because the last quarter of 2022, its revenue increased 22% compared to the same period last year. Oh boy. Good for you, WOTC. Wow, I'm so glad you're propping up Hasbro. That's a healthy business relationship. What about all of Hasbro? Oh, your sales in the consumer product segment went down 26% in the fourth quarter. So Magic went up because morons are still buying their products, but most of those people are even super done as of recently, so it wouldn't be reflected. So Christmas looked great for WOTC. Christmas looked horrible for consumer product segment over on Hasbro. And you know, Hasbro isn't separate from WOTC. They threw WOTC into that number. So I don't know what the relative amounts are, I could guess, but basically if you took out WOTC, their consumer product segment could be down 50 to 75%. Just napkin math. Boy, if 3/4 of your sales just disappeared, I mean, we're in for some economic issues because entirely of Biden, the lockdowns, and printing money. Which, just very dark irony, is what WOTC supports, is that political system. So, good job. I hope you kept the receipt. You might want to return on that one. Oh, that's right. It doesn't work that way. There's no warranty or guarantee with who you vote for, although I guarantee he was going to run the company or the country like this. But how about we all go fix it in 2024? How about that? We remember what happened in the last couple of years with them trying to control speech and ruin your life and have the IRS shove a magnifying glass up your ass because you made $5 on Venmo while devaluing all of your holdings because they printed trillions of dollars to pay for social programs that are complete and utter crap and funnel money to crooked foreign entities. That's what you supported. Maybe vote a little differently in 2024. California just set a record for the most number of U-Hauls doing one-directional deliveries out of California. So maybe don't keep voting for that. Leave your stupid policies and your politics behind while you evacuate your failed state of California. How about that? Yeah, I'm talking as if these people aren't completely brainwashed. Whatever, some of them are starting to wake up and get a clue. And don't vote for Republicans like McCarthy either. That's the same crap, different flavor. That guy's so far in the pocket of big everything. DeSantis 2024, political rant over, but politics had everything to do with Hasbro's downfall. From everything from pissing off their customers, trying to sell G.I. Joe dolls to girls, forcing their employees to go to woke re-education camp, and then also just the governmental policies that ruined the economy. Everything top to bottom, it was lefty bullshit that ruined their company. Mismanagement was a factor, but this made it way worse. And remember, Hasbro across the board sells stuff that people do not need, and WOTC has completely pulled every single stop out to do their emergency we need money now measures that are going to ruin their company in the long run for Magic the Gathering, and then on top of it, pissed off all the D&D players. There is no coming back from that. There is no fixing this. 2023 is going to be excuses and bad graphs. All 4 quarterly reports, their stock's going to probably drop another 10 every single time. They're going to have to lay off entire divisions. And that just means, well, they still owe money on some of their acquisitions. They bought it with like non-stock debt. I don't know who gave them a loan. I really don't. But that's what the stock money's supposed to be for. Generally, you're not supposed to get a multi-billion-dollar loan from like private capital and banks and whoever the hell else would be stupid enough to give them money at a publicly traded company. That's not how you're supposed to do things. I mean, acquisitions, cool, probably made the stock go up because, Wall Street people love acquisitions. Ooh, they love monopolies. They love more control over their product segment. Every time Pepsi buys a little drink startup, they get all excited and up the stock price. But with Hasbro, what they didn't realize is that their board is a bunch of idiots and they did nothing with it. So that's already not sustainable. That's what led to, like, in the longer term, the longer history going back to, like, 2010 onward and probably even before that. That's what led to them treating WOTC like a piggy bank and putting the pressure on WOTC to make more to cover for their losses. And once again, if you think I'm wrong, WOTC's revenue increased 22% in the Christmas quarter. Hasbro's went down 26% overall in the consumer product segment. And now everybody's quitting D&D, everybody's quitting Magic. Or at least quitting buying Magic. I keep saying that and I was pissing you guys off. You can play whatever you want with whatever cards you got, or could buy locally or singles, or you can play whatever cheap format. You can play just whatever your friends agree on. There's nothing stopping you from enjoying Magic the Gathering, but there's a lot stopping you from enjoying buying new Magic the Gathering products. And that's why my channel's not going anywhere, okay? I'm not like deleting it because I'm giving up on Magic. But I am focusing a little bit more on creating videos for my other 3 channels. And as you can see from some little leaks I made to people I care about and people who would watch till the end of a video, that's going very, very well. Because unlike Hasbro and WOTC, I make good financial decisions. So it wasn't just, this one product segment was bad, but. Oh, no. Chris Cox even said it's on the backdrop of a challenging holiday consumer environment. Yeah, inflation, nobody has money. Okay, you can't blame that for everything. You're doing worse than similar companies. So you found a way to like take a financial hit and then make it worse because of mismanagement. So don't try and hide behind, it was bad all around. That's one thing that their investors and stockholders do not fall for, because they could just go look at another graph for another company and be like, oh yeah, this whole segment, the whole industry, the whole tech industry, okay, they went down this percent. How did you go down this percent? And then they came out and said Hasbro's overall revenue decreased 17% in the fourth quarter. 70% overall. That's licensing, that's everything but the consumer product segment. So no wonder they're getting rid of 1,000 people. I really wonder how they possibly employ 7,000 people. I get it, they're scattered around and they acquire stuff. If there's some big new toy line, they try to buy it. And then they buy up a company full of, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people. And then they usually just kind of leave it as long as it's profitable. That's why they bought them. But yeah, it's time to trim the fat. When you start losing money, you look at do we really need these people? And then if your sales go down, usually, like I said, there's a lot of jobs that'll scale with your sales volume. So if your sales volume goes down, you need less product support. You need less, it's probably contracted, but delivery drivers. If you're selling less products, you need less delivery drivers. If you're getting less product complaints because people are buying less of your products, then you need less product quality assurance customer support staff. And that's probably who they're firing, and that's a shame, but, your job's always on the line if you work for any company that is mismanaged to this level. And then also if you work in, a bad experimental segment or something that's, exploratory, Facebook and Meta. If you work for Meta, you can get fired at any time. Or on the Metaverse project, it's all called Meta now, which that was an even stupider decision. But, Twitter, you knew they weren't making money. You knew the employees were not profitable. You knew it was a bunch of socialists who just show up and drink wine and go to the relaxation bar and then do an hour of work, maybe. If you thought that was sustainable, then you obviously weren't paying attention to Twitter's, financial reports. What are you going to do? Jump ship ahead of time before everybody gets laid off and you're competing with all your coworkers to go work at a place where you have to actually do a job and work 8 hours a day? I'd rather go to the wine bar and walk my dog and go up on the roof and get a tan. Every single person at Twitter that got fired deserved it. Across the board. I've never even heard of an exception. It's just entitled liberals who basically got UBI, Universal Basic Income, in this socialist utopia crap company, and Twitter's going to be doing just fine without them. But that was a special exception. I want to throw that in as a company that's an example of even worse and even more far left than Hasbro and WOTC. But somebody came in, made sweeping changes, and then they're going to appoint someone who's actually qualified to run it. And I think Twitter's going to recover in the next couple years. I really do. So in all of 2022, it wasn't just a bad Christmas quarter. 9%, Hasbro's down. Ouch. 9% compared to the previous year, which, I mean, come on, COVID. How do you do worse than a lockdown year? That's amazing. And I'm hearing rumors of numbers that the D&D department is losing. And I heard that D&D was more profitable for Hasbro than Magic was. That is very surprising. I would stop just short of saying I just outright do not believe those numbers. I think they're false or misreported or something. I don't have the time to look deeper and I don't care. But my gosh, like if you thought the slow trickle of people leaving Magic was bad, look at the absolute deluge of people canceling D&D Beyond and boycotting anything that Dungeons and Dragons does in the future. It's such a nothing product in the first place. People are just like, oh, respect. Oh, Gary Gygax. Oh, OG Wizards. Oh, good for them for supporting it this long. They've been pretty pro-consumer in the past, but then they got greedy. Hasbro came down. Chris Cox, I'm sure it came directly from his desk saying, let's do this new OGL. People are making money and we're not. We got to capture this to help cover for Hasbro's losses. Because remember, WOTC is a piggy bank. And Hasbro is just a bunch of people running around with hammers. So we did get one little hint of what they're doing here as far as who they're firing. Chris Wrecking Ball to the bottom line Cox said the focus will be on fewer, bigger brands. Not fewer, bigger, but fewer brands, and the ones that are bigger, they want to focus on gaming and digital. The two worst segments, at least at WOTC. I mean, look at all the games that they made that failed. They had the D&D, I don't know, MMO or whatever it was. Was it Dark Alliance or something? I don't even remember. It was awful. The Magic the Gathering one, I cannot imagine how many millions of dollars they lost on that. That thing was in beta for like 2 or 3 months and then they canceled it outright because it was generic cookie cutter garbage. The lore and the animations were amazing. The gameplay was a little bad and the reaction was bad and it was kind of glitchy and I somewhat enjoyed it, but it got repetitive. It had a ton of people and then the backlash and the bad reviews, because if you want to come out with even an A-level AA or AAA game in 2022 or 2021, it better be damn good. Now I get it, Bethesda, Rockstar, they are incapable at this point of making a good game. Just incapable. Cannot happen. They went full Google where they're like, let's drop, $100 million on this glass thing. Oh, people don't like being recorded. Oops, I guess we should have checked on that. Oh, the price is outrageous. Well, we should have done some market research. We thought, because we bought all of our competitors and we're Google, that we can't fail. Everything we do will just automatically sell because we're the biggest and we're the best. Oops. Facebook and the metaverse. Oops. Facebook and the Oculus acquisition. Oops, everybody hates you. Oops. Blizzard, when they try to do anything. The new Diablo game. What's that other? There was some new one too that was some money grubbing pile of crap. The most egregious pay to win game ever. Wasn't it just another new Diablo game? Did they make 2 bad ones in a row? Or is that the same one? I don't cover Blizzard crap. I don't follow it either. So really they should have been able to compete, but you have to not put in a half effort. You have to not hire low level careless contractors. The amount of effort and money and careful planning and acquiring the right developers with the right resumes to make Arena was very impressive. I thought, this is it right here. This is going to make WOTC enough money that they're going to finally fix the product quality. They're going to finally do some pro-consumer stuff. They're going to finally fix everything because they'll be like, okay, some pressure off our back finally. Nope, they managed to ruin Arena too by rigging everything. Historic anthologies, power ramp. Here's another 700 cards, all that you need to play Historic. Oh, we're going to up the price of a draft. We're going to up this. We're going to up that. We're going to never have a sale on gems ever in the entire game's history, even on Black Friday. Oh, we're going to make it almost more expensive than paper. No, they ruined their number one source of income. People had nothing but good stuff to say about Arena, even when it was in beta. It was stable. It was well designed. It was fair. And then they let the suits creep in and say, let's ruin this. Let's ruin that. Let's see if we can get a little more money out of this. Let's make the Mastery Pass a little bit worse. Let's see if we can slip in this. Let's rig drafts so that people can't win too much. Allegedly. So what they're pushing now is Hasbro digital crap, Hasbro Pulse. I thought they were dicking around with NFTs too. Oh, pardon me, it's Chris Cox. It's coxing around now. I know some Japanese, what was it, Sony or whatever, they went full NFTs. Oh no, that was Square Enix, is that who it was? Good luck with that. I mean, that's a very Japanese cultural thing to do, to not do any market research and just think you're right without looking into your product segment or being completely out of touch. I mean, look at Nintendo. Seems like the car makers over there get it, but not many other big Japanese companies seem to understand the process of actually giving your customers what they want or doing basic research. It's very, I know what I'm doing and I'm not going to listen to anyone, which America used to be like that. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying that's how they are right now. Could stand to change that. But now WOTC's doing it knowingly because Hasbro keeps asking for money. Some of the exited staff, as they call it, like people on Glassdoor, they're like, I can't believe what they're making us do. Some of the ex-employees of D&D Beyond are saying, I cannot believe what management is forcing us to do. I cannot believe that they let us know about this at the last second and that they want us to do this when we all know darn well that that's going to piss people off. When the people at the top have no idea what they're doing, or they just don't care because the stock prices are going down and they're just panicking and doing everything because their job's on the line. Boy, don't you wish Magic was managed the way it was in 2013? They could have saved this. Now, the other problem for us in this community is that when Hasbro inevitably goes bankrupt or darn close to it, I mean, I'll call it bankrupt if they lose 75% of their employees, that's close enough. They could downscale to still operate and just license stuff and just cut it down to zero new stuff, new ventures, nothing, just kind of operate and get small. They could, in theory, survive, but it's not going to look real pretty, and you know, WOTC's going to scale back, obviously, on income and stuff, but they don't have the employees to fire. They just don't. I know the approximate size of their company and the department sizes just from like their own videos and stuff, and there's nothing they can trim. Not really. Not meaningfully. I'm sure they got a handful of people that are just, you know, whatever. It's nice to have these people. We don't need them. But you aren't going to get rid of 50% to scale it back 50%. They're still going to be operationally very expensive. So once again, the part that affects us because of that information is that they are never going to sell off Wizards of the Coast. That is virtually their only profitable division right now. If D&D and Magic both go absolutely down and then Hasbro discovers some absolute gold mine that makes them a couple $1 billion, even then, do you really think they would sell off WOTC? Like, they'd have to be not profitable for multiple years, and Hasbro doesn't have multiple years. So unless Hasbro goes fully bankrupt, they are not selling off Wizards of the Coast. And usually bankruptcy just means you can restructure and all this other corporate crap and then remain the same entity. So nobody with a brain is going to acquire WOTC. Even if you went to Hasbro and said, we'll pay you 3 times the value of WOTC, which I think they're around $1 billion is what they're valued at, maybe 2. So you'd need a lot of money, but that's a lot of money, but it's not that much money. Like, look up what like Microsoft and Apple are worth. I mean, we know what Elon paid for Twitter. It was pretty expensive. So it wouldn't be cheap, but even if somebody made them an offer of like 5 to 10 billion and said, give us it right now, I think even like the stockholders would sell. I don't think that would push it in a very positive direction, even though WOTC would be like, look at our income. We just made $10 million. And then people would say, why? Oh, well, we sold off our most profitable long-term. Oh, okay, there goes the stock price. So it's like, well, now we've got $10 billion in the bank. Now what? Now what are we going to do to make money with it? Oh, let's buy up a movie studio. Oh, wait, that didn't go so well last time. Let's buy up this entire division. Let's buy up Power Rangers. Let's buy up, what's it, G.I. Joe. Let's fund another Transformers movie because Hollywood and movies are doing really well right now. Oh, let's put, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars probably into a D&D movie and then completely crap on the D&D franchise right before it comes out. And then probably put a bunch of lefty bullshit in it because they can't resist. They just cannot resist their self-destructive, self-righteous, lefty extremist and completely inaccurate, incorrect worldviews into everything they do. And that's just the cherry on the top of the we're going bankrupt sundae. So we are never going to see somebody acquire WOTC unless it gets so bad that WOTC isn't recoverable, nobody plays the game and nobody cares anymore. And we're years out from that. So nobody's going to swoop in and save the division that we actually care about. Because does anybody watching this video give one single crap about Hasbro or anything they do? No. We care about D&D, maybe, and Magic the Gathering, definitely. But like I said, they can't stop you from playing whatever the hell you want. Go play with your friends. Don't say, I don't want to play Magic because look at what they're doing. Well, ignore what they're doing and play with your existing cards in your decks. Go have fun. The game's enjoyable. In fact, the game was enjoyable back in the day. Go play with your decks from back in the day. Go play whatever Commander format your friends approve of. Instead of drafting with packs, draft with a cube that you built yourself. Playing Magic is free. I'm sure at this point, if WOTC or Hasbro found a way to tax you 25 cents for every game of Magic you played with your products that you already own yourself, they would do it, but they can't do that. They're not a self-driving car company selling you subscriptions to your heated seats and having potentially your car not start if they don't like a tweet you sent out. But that's just a little message from the future. Although I will tell you, if you were stupid enough in California and some other places, especially European countries, to say, oh, I could save a certain amount of my bill if I put in a smart thermostat, I don't know what that is, but save money, sure, put it in. And then the government says, we locked you out of your thermostat, and now you can't set it above 60 because energy crisis. Hope you like the cold. Or the hot if it's California. So you can't set it below this because you're irresponsible. Oh, you want to do something about it? Go buy solar. Hope you're rich. If you thought that's dystopian and I'm making that up, I could link you 50 stories of that happening. So you think a self-driving smart car is some, glorified computer on wheels with subscriptions and a constant data connection? You think they're not going to say, you drove too much, you're ruining the environment? They're already banning people from charging cars in some countries because it's overloading the grid, and their grid runs on, coal. So your electric car runs on coal. Just, I hate to break it to you, but it does. And my 07 is just rolling right along, 37 miles per gallon. Boy, I can't even imagine what the CO2 impact would be of building an entire new car, plus digging up battery lithium, and then funneling the profits to China. That's good for the environment. Look, lefty politics are the bigger picture here. That's why I keep, Reagan on it, because that is what's behind all of this. That's what's behind what's about to happen to the economy in the next 2 years. That's what's behind a bunch of policies that are starting to affect your life. The FBI and the CIA stomping on your First Amendment because they're threatening and coercing Twitter to censor your speech. And to influence political races? Come on. To manufacture political scandals that are nothing like Russiagate? You should be concerned if you're like, well, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention because it just makes me mad. Well, then you better pay attention next time the vote comes around, okay? Just to remind you. Every last one of you is responsible for fixing this because it's starting to affect your daily life. I don't care about what some people do in Washington and some statements they make and some grandstanding crap until it affects me, my freedoms, and my money, and they're coming for all of that right now. Democrats, never again. Republican 2024, and I mean good Republicans. Actually, screw the Republicans. Conservatives 2024. If you just see the letter R and vote for it because the D is that bad, it's a good start. But that's how assholes like McCarthy keep getting in. DeSantis and Matt Gaetz, VP 2024, let's go. And I hope Trump drops dead of a heart attack before then to make things a lot less complicated. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you like hearing the truth, if you like the deep dives, if you like the full history instead of some ridiculous couple little bullet point, they sent me a press release and I'm copying and pasting it onto, NBC.com. Now, if you like hearing it real, sub to this channel and my other ones. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.